Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to be tackling the wild world of Andrew Tate.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, Andrew Tate,
He's everywhere.
you might already know him
Yeah.
as like this really controversial internet figure. He kind of blew up online, it felt like, overnight.
Really did.
Became incredibly famous and is now facing some serious legal trouble. So
Yeah, it's a wild story.
we're going to try to break down like how he even built this platform, what his whole deal is,
Yeah.
and what ultimately led to his downfall, right?
Yeah.
So to do that, we've got a whole bunch of sources here.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go through.
Social media posts, we've got news articles, we even have some video commentary from other people chiming in on this whole thing.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating and frankly kind of wild story.
Well, one of the things that is so interesting to me is that, like you said, it felt like he blew up overnight,
Yeah,
but it wasn't an accident.
right.
This guy was incredibly strategic about how he built this platform.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And, like, honestly, understanding his strategy, it tells us a lot about how online content works these days.
Yeah, and one of the things that jumps out from all these sources is how much he was leaning into controversy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's almost like he knew exactly which buttons to push to get everyone talking about him, whether they loved him or they absolutely hated him.
You're exactly right. And he weaponized that controversy.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was actually encouraging his followers to spread these, like, his most outrageous clips all over the internet.
So it wasn't even just that he was being controversial. He was saying, hey, go make me more controversial.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you know how sometimes companies, they'll try to make it seem like
Yeah.
there's, like, a ton of grassroots support for their product, even if they're secretly behind it all?
Oh, like, yeah.
It's like a fake grassroots movement.
Okay.
That's what's called astroturfing, and Tate was a master of it online.
So he was kind of like creating this artificial outrage
Exactly.
to get more people talking about him.
And it worked.
Yeah, and it's like one of the sources here, it's an article from The Observer
Oh, yeah.
talking about how his followers were just like all over social media, especially sharing these like shocking videos.
And that was the point.
Yeah.
Like, he
Re-
wanted
Yeah.
the most shocking stuff to spread.
Wow, that's crazy.
And apparently in just 3 months, he built this massive following.
Yeah, it says potentially millions of dollars too.
Oh, absolutely. He was making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And, it makes you think about the algorithms that control what we see online, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the most outrageous, the most controversial content gets pushed to the top, what does that say about what we're all being exposed to every day?
Right. Like, what is that doing to us?
Yeah, I mean, think about your own social media feeds.
Yeah.
How much of what you see is, like, designed to provoke a reaction rather than actually inform you or anything?
It's true. Yeah, you get sucked in.
You get caught up in it.
Yeah.
It's designed that
You,
way.
you just scroll and scroll and scroll.
Exactly.
So, okay, we know he was good at playing the algorithm,
He was great at it.
but like, what was it about his actual message that was resonating with people?
Well, this is where we get into the world of the, like, red pill philosophy,
Okay.
which Tate was a huge proponent of.
Okay.
Basically, it challenges, like, these traditional ideas about gender roles.
Okay.
And it poses this idea of, like, hypermasculinity, male dominance, that kind of stuff.
Right. And like, he didn't hold back at all
I don't know.
about his views on women and relationships.
Yep.
Like, some of it is honestly really shocking.
It is. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
And, it's complicated
Yeah.
trying to understand why this kind of ideology appeals to some, especially young men, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you got to think about it. Society's constantly changing. Traditional ideas of masculinity are being challenged.
Right.
Some young men might feel lost. They might feel like they don't have a place in this new world.
So they're looking for answers.
Exactly. And the red pill philosophy, with its promise of control, dominance, it can feel like a solution, a way to regain a sense of power.
In a world that feels out of control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a dark side to all of this.
Well, definitely.
The danger lies in the misogyny at the core of these beliefs and the potential for normalizing some really harmful behaviors.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, people like Candace Owens,
Oh, wow.
who have a lot of influence, they gave Tate a degree of legitimacy,
Right.
which amplified his message to an even wider audience.
Right. Yeah.
So scary how much influence he gained.
It really is.
But everything came crashing down.
Yes, it was a spectacular downfall.
It really was.
Yeah, like I was saying before we move on, it's important to understand just how serious these charges against Tate actually are.
Yeah.
Like, he's accused of running an actual sex trafficking ring.
Yeah.
And some of the accusations involve violence against women,
Yeah.
including minors.
This is not just some minor offense. Like, these are incredibly serious charges.
Yeah.
And the Romanian authorities, they're not messing around.
Right.
They've seized his assets. He's been under house arrest.
Wow.
This legal battle is far from over.
Yeah.
And there's also a separate investigation going on in the UK
Oh, really?
based on accusations from like a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
So even if he somehow manages to slip through the cracks in Romania, he's still got a lot to deal with.
Yeah, so he's not getting away with this anytime soon.
No, absolutely not.
But I'm curious, like, how did his fan base react to all of this?
Well-
Like, did they see through it?
It's a mixed bag.
Okay.
The sources we've got, it kind of paints a mixed picture.
Yeah.
Some people, they definitely had a rude awakening, right?
Okay.
But then others, they seem to double down on their support for Tate.
Wow, so they're still defending him?
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, there's one video commentary we have that really illustrates this divide perfectly. And even Sneeko, like one of Tate's most vocal supporters, the commentator mentioned that even Sneeko called him out.
Right. Sneeko, who had been defending Tate no matter what,
Yeah.
actually went public and questioned his actions.
Wow, that's huge.
It was a really big deal.
Yeah.
Because, Sneeko has this massive following of young, impressionable fans
Yeah.
who probably saw him as someone they could trust.
Right.
So when Sneeko changed his tune, it could have had like a domino effect on other people who looked up to Tate.
That's interesting.
It's fascinating to see how that dynamic played out.
So, okay, so it wasn't like everyone just blindly accepted
Right.
Tate's attempts to like deflect blame or act like he was a victim.
No, definitely not.
But for those who did stick by him,
Mm-hmm.
why would they continue to support him after all of this came out?
Well, you have to remember that relationships with online personalities can be like really powerful.
Yeah.
Especially within these online communities.
Yeah.
People invest so much time, energy, sometimes even money,
Right.
building this connection with someone they admire.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that connection isn't real in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
It's what they call a parasocial relationship.
Oh, right.
Like you feel like you know them, you have a relationship with them,
Even though you don't.
even though it's completely one-sided.
Yeah.
So when that person is accused of something awful,
Yeah.
it can be really hard to process that information
Right.
and reconcile it with the image that they've built up in their minds.
Yeah, that's a good point. You've invested so much into this person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, Tate was really good at using this to his advantage.
Wow.
Remember that daddy coin that we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the commentary mentions how, like,
Yeah.
Tate's fans, they actually started calling him daddy,
Oh, wow.
which just, like, blurred the lines even further
That's creepy.
between, like, a leader-follower dynamic
Yeah.
and something much more unhealthy.
Yeah, and to think he was using that kind of influence to get people involved in something as risky as cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah, he was constantly downplaying the risks associated with these meme coins.
Right.
He'd frame it as, like, a way for his followers to get rich quick
Yeah.
and escape this so-called matrix he was always going on about.
Yeah. Like he was doing them a favor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was trying to position himself as, like, some kind of savior,
Right.
claiming that he just wanted to help people achieve financial freedom.
Right. When in reality.
But the reality,
Yeah.
as CoffeeZilla showed,
Right.
many of these coins were just like elaborate pump and dump schemes
Yeah.
designed to make him and his buddies rich at the expense of his followers.
Yeah. Classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Daddy Coin either.
Right.
The commentary lists like a whole bunch of other tokens that Tate promoted,
Oh, really?
and they all follow the same pattern.
Oh, wow.
Create hype, inflate the price, and then crash,
Yeah. Leaving his fans with nothing.
leaving his fans holding worthless digital assets.
Like a modern day snake oil salesman.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
It really shows why, like, critical thinking
Yeah.
and skepticism are so important,
Especially online.
especially in the online world,
Yeah.
where things can change so quickly.
Okay, so we've seen how he used controversy to grab attention. He built this following based on this, like, toxic ideology, and then he exploited that following for financial gain.
Yeah.
So, like, where does all of this leave him now? Well, we've been through a lot with this Andrew Tate situation.
Yeah, we have.
His rise to fame, all the controversial tactics, and now he's facing these super serious charges.
Yeah.
It's wild. And even though his legal stuff is still going on,
Mm.
it feels like the impact of all this is still unfolding online.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like even with Tate battling it out in court,
Yeah.
the ripple effects of his actions and honestly the whole trend he represents, it's still playing out across the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like he opened this Pandora's box
Yeah, exactly.
and now it's hard to close it.
Right. It makes you wonder what's next.
Yeah.
Both for him and for like the world of online influencers.
Right. So let's put on our like prediction hats for a second.
Yeah.
What could happen? What are the possible outcomes here?
Well, legally speaking, if he's convicted in Romania,
Yeah.
Tate could be looking at some serious time behind bars.
Yeah, and like you said, there's those separate charges in the UK too.
Right, exactly.
So even if he somehow avoids a conviction in Romania,
Yeah,
he's not in the clear just yet.
not at all.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine him coming back from all of this,
Yeah.
even if he somehow avoids jail time.
I mean, his reputation is
It's gone.
pretty much in shreds at this point.
Yeah.
But honestly, what's more interesting to me is how his downfall might actually change the whole influencer landscape.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, like, think about it. His case could be a massive wake-up call
Okay.
for both the influencers themselves
Yeah.
and their fans.
You're saying it might force everyone to kind of take a step back and be like, whoa, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, for influencers, it's a stark reminder of the dangers of building a platform based on shock value
Mm-hmm.
and taking advantage of those, like, parasocial relationships
Right.
to just make a profit.
Right.
Like, it's like building a house on sand.
Yeah.
You know, it might look impressive for a while,
But
but
it's not going to last.
it's not going to last.
Yeah, and for the fans, it's like
Right.
a harsh lesson in critical thinking.
Yes.
And not just blindly accepting whatever their favorite influencer is selling.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
But Tate's story also raises questions about how these big platforms like YouTube and TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
how are they handling harmful content?
Right.
Are they protecting their users from getting scammed, manipulated?
Yeah. Are you doing enough?
It feels like this could be a turning point
Okay.
where these platforms have to seriously reevaluate their algorithms, their content moderation policies.
So maybe we'll start to see more scrutiny of these influencers that are pushing like shady money-making schemes.
Yeah.
Or
Hopefully,
spreading these harmful ideologies.
Yeah,
That would be a good thing.
on a more optimistic note,
Yeah.
this could also spark a broader conversation about media literacy
Okay.
and critical thinking,
Yeah.
especially for younger generations who are basically growing up online.
Yeah. That's such a crucial skill these days.
It really is.
To be able to like navigate the online world and
Yeah.
make informed decisions.
Absolutely.
It would be amazing if something positive came out of this whole mess.
Absolutely, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's clear that Andrew Tate's story it's way more than just a gossip column headline.
Yeah.
know?
It really reflects like
Yeah.
the challenges, the complexities
Yeah.
of navigating the digital world today.
It's a really good point. Yeah.
I completely agree. It's a story about the dark side of online fame, the ethical lines that some influencers cross,
Yeah.
and the urgent need for us all to become more savvy, more discerning
Yeah.
about the information that we consume online.
That's so important, especially now.
It really is.
So as we sign off here,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
The internet is an incredibly powerful tool,
Yes.
but it's up to each of us to use it wisely
Wait a minute,
and
let's do it.
responsibly,
Be skeptical.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
always.
And always think critically about who's behind the information you're seeing and what their motivations might be.
That's such good advice.
It's crucial.
Yeah. So until next time, keep learning, keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.